Hello, heroes. Welcome to Kvell. I am Jamar, the spiritual director here at Kvell, and today I'd like to talk to you about meditation, the key to mental health. So meditation has the same root word as the word medicine, meaning to heal. That's a pretty good introduction. Often when it comes to the idea of meditation, we may have tried it previously or we have some experience. Everybody knows a little bit about meditation, or someone who has previously attempted a meditation or to meditate. And what we want to use when it comes to meditation is all of our attempts was at getting ready so that we can kind of start fresh when we come to it. I personally, as a meditation teacher, teach more than 14 styles. And that's basically to give the people I work with an opportunity to try this way or this way or this way. The basic premise for all the different styles of meditation is the same. There's a focus point, and you want to bring your awareness to it repeatedly. And when the mind drifts, because the mind always drifts, we gently bring it back to our focus point. And that is the practice of meditation. For many, it starts with a practice of concentrating, learning to put your awareness on a specific point and letting it rest there for the duration. And when it drifts, and it always drifts, then bringing it back gently and without critique. And that will set up the gift of concentration, which then makes meditation possible. Now there's lots of styles, and you probably have tried some of your own. There's walking, there's sitting, there's a breath-centered meditation, there's open eye, there's closed eye, there are sound meditations, there's movement and or dance, there are guided relaxations and or guided meditations with or without candles. So the choices are endless. It's better ultimately to settle into one practice and that you dig one very deep well as opposed to a lot of very shallow wells, so that you can make some progress and that you can move through some of the challenges that just naturally present themselves. So if you're interested in meditating just to quiet the mind, that's a bit of a setup. So the mind on average has some 50,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thinkingness. And thoughts by their very nature rise and pass of their own energy. So in our meditation practice, we're watching the mind. We're using the mind against the mind. We're watching those thoughts rise, and we're watching those thoughts pass. Ultimately, we call that engaging your witness consciousness, the ability to see your thoughts as they come into your consciousness, as they start to form into ideas without any attachment. So they come and they go. And eventually, they stop coming. That's some of the gift of the sitting or the meditation practice that you choose. It's a little bit like battle brushing your teeth. When we were little, I have two brothers, and we brushed our teeth. And yet there was a series of inquiries every time we brushed our teeth. Did we brush all our teeth? Do we brush the ones on the top and the bottom? And all of those kind of questions came from our resistance to brushing our teeth. At some point, you make a decision along the way that, I'm just going to brush my teeth for hygiene, for the sake of girls, for the sake of not getting in trouble, and because it just feels nice. And once you resolve, that battle brushing of the teeth kind of falls away. That's how we want to come at our meditation practice. That all previous attempts were getting ready. And it's okay just to decide, I'm going to meditate. Now, a little later in the talk, we're going to try some meditation. And we'll try to see how that works for you, what you might enjoy. At least we'll introduce one or two different types of or forms. Some people ask, how long should I meditate for? It's a good question. I say the rest of your life, but maybe in 5-minute increments. So we start with a small practice because the discipline of the thing is important. Maybe that's not a word that you like, discipline, but there's a beauty in choosing how long you're going to apply your specific practice for. Let's say that you're going to meditate for 5 minutes in the morning. Great. The best time of the day is first thing. And I mean very first thing. So that's maybe a bathroom stop and then into the practice of meditation. There are styles that you can do right in the bed, and those are some of my favorite kind. If we introduce other things into our life, we stop and let the dogs out, we feed this one or that one, we get the paper. Suddenly there's a whole list of reasons why we don't have time to meditate. And if you don't have time to meditate for 5 minutes a day, you need to be sitting for about 10. Because that'll help you reprioritize some of the things that are going on in your life. So we set you up for the best opportunity, which is first thing in the morning. Now let's say that you make a 5-minute commitment, which is a very doable piece of work. You want to let go of the judgment of your practice. So today may have been an awesome, an amazing meditation. And so you think, well, I'll just stay. I'm kind of in the zone. Why don't I stay 6, 7, maybe 10 minutes instead of my 5-minute practice? If you start allowing for the discipline to fall away, for the commitment to sit for 5 minutes based on how you feel, the first time you don't feel like sitting, you'll get up, or you won't. You'll sit down, I'm ready, here's the day, here we go. Yeah, not today, tomorrow looks better. So we want to get into the discipline of a practice, whether it's a 5-minute or a 10-minute. We can start small, and we can add to that every week, just a minute or two. And in no time, you'll build up a very desirable practice. It's also helpful to practice in the same place, in your home. There's an energy that you will leave that's consistent with that meditation practice. If you have a whole room that you can dedicate to the practice, all the better. If not, even just carving out a little place in your closet is a good start. Any place that you can say, this is my sacred space. And it's sacred because you declare it so. So that when you start to return to it from that awareness of, I'm going to do something spiritual or something loving or something that helps me connect, then you'll start to benefit almost immediately from that habit energy around that. We've talked about that in previous talks and the value of that. I want to make you aware a little bit about what goes on. There are 3 things that need to be present whenever we have a practice. They are awareness, concentration, and energy. Awareness, concentration, and energy. So what does that look like? If you were to put your eyes on the page and begin to read something, it's awareness that helps you absorb what you're reading. It's concentration that keeps your eyes on the word. And it's energy that fuels both. If you had awareness and no concentration, you would read the page and your eyes would go right off the end. And you may have experienced that, but not probably. The second example is a little bit more common. That's not enough awareness. So you have concentration, so you put your eyes on the page, you read the words, and nothing goes in. You put your eyes on the page, you read the words, and nothing goes in. That's concentration without awareness. Now, energy fuels both of those. The way that we primarily bring energy into our practice is through our breath, the way that you breathe. It's the #1 tool for introducing more life force into your system to use however you choose. And in this case, in meditation. So we want to notice that. There's another thing I'd like to share with you that's called avoidance and attraction. And this is a state that the mind is in very often that creates what we call psychic restlessness. That would look like, today I'm dieting and I won't be having any chocolate mint ice cream. That's one of my favorites. And your mind is doing this, but I believe I'll be having an ice cream. And except I won't be having it today, except I will be having it right now. But I won't be having it. And there's this kind of battle that goes on, and that goes on all the time in the mind. So the mind can be attracted to something with this kind of an invitation, and at the same time, another part of the mind is saying, no, not that thing. And that avoidance and attraction cycle is what creates upset in the mind. So when we begin to notice that that's a possibility and recognize it for what it is, we start to get a leg up on the ability to allow it to happen without judgment. We can see that's just one of the ways that the mind entertains itself to prove that it has something valuable to contribute to your life. And so we want to acknowledge the mind. We're grateful for the gift of the intellect. So our meditation practice is not a religion. It's a science of sort. This is how the mind works. With that state of focus, although there can be an intimate spiritual connection that begins to develop from that, we don't have to necessarily start from that. The awareness of bringing your consciousness to a specific point starts to allow for some experience of that. That is to say that if you brought your awareness to your heart, you might have an experience of your own heart. If you brought your awareness to a picture of someone in your life and or a spiritual figure, that also can create an intimate connection in the present moment and with self as a form of meditation. So there's lots and lots of different styles. So we're going to practice a breath-centered meditation that moves with the sound of your breath. It's hum, sa. So hum is a sound the breath naturally makes on the inhale, and sa is a sound the breath naturally makes on the exhale. So we take some 23,000 breaths a day. That's a lot of breathing. And so we always have available that sound as a focus point when we begin to breathe. When we bring our awareness to the breath and the repetition of the breath, it sounds something like Humsa. So you can repeat those words inside to yourself. And we're going to take and do a repetition of 10. Now, 10 breaths is a good place to start. So let's go ahead and begin, and I'm going to count them for you. And let's start by breathing in and out through our nose. So we're going to inhale, hum, and exhale, sa. Inhale, hum, and exhale, sa. Inhale, hum, and exhale, sa. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. Great. So what do you notice with just those 10 breaths? The repetition of the same words, we call that a japa. Your breath is actively involved in what we call a japa daily. And the words that we're repeating could be called a mantra. A mantra, the definition of mantra, is that which steadies the mind and brings about the proper effect. Now these words, Humsa, mean I am that, which is an unfolding that I hope that someday you'll have the experience of. I am that. I am that exists and always was. I am that in the moment. I am present. Or, in reverse, that I am. So, here's a small chance for us to practice at least together a little bit. You can pause at any point during the day and take a few breaths. I would invite you to start with a 5-minute practice in the morning. If you've got one that you like, that you would make a commitment to it and you'd stick with it, and that we would all benefit as a great gift that you offer not only yourself, but everyone in your life. And through that, you master the keys to your own mental health. Remember, to heal, to feel, to be proud. The hero is courage. The hero is you.